Hi everyone, welcome to another video in this fun little series from Rooms of Wonder. We are going to be tackling the dinosaur today, but I thought we would just do these little dice first. And I am going to do them in a sort of orangey colour. We do have a bit of orange going on here, but I'm going to use this coral blush and show you actually something that was in a book. I did a flip through of I'm going to just do plain colouring and try and leave the dots white and try and keep it fairly even. A book that I reviewed which had colouring techniques in, which I'd been sent as a gift for Christmas, and it showed you how to colour something like this so that it looked like it had shade and shadow. So this is all as even as I can make it. But if we think about the light and where it will be falling, normally I imagine the light's coming down from the top, so that top surface will be the lightest. So we'll leave that with just the one layer. Now I'm thinking this surface might be a little bit darker than that. So I'm going to put another layer of colour on, and I'm going to put another layer on this surface too, because this would also be darker than the top. But I think it's always fun to make one of them even darker. Which one's going to be the darkest? I'm thinking maybe this one. So I'm going to put yet another layer on. Now you could use different pencils. So if you've got a big set of pencils and you've got 3 different tones of the same colour, you could use the 3 different colours. But I think if you want to just make it look like shadow, I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit, it can be better to just layer up. Now that is one way of doing it. Another way is that you do your lightest layer here as you colour it. I think it's always good to start with the lightest one, because then you can see how much darker you need to go. So this is our next darkest, so I'm just going to put a few more layers on as I colour it, rather than going back and adding another layer after like I did with the other one. This is just the same. I'm using the same principle. That's supposed to be white, and then this one just do even more layers as you go. There's just a slightly different way of doing exactly the same thing, and you can probably hear, I guess I'm pressing a bit harder as well. Try not to press too hard. There we go. So these faces are darker than those, and then the tops are lighter. Excuse me. It's very important to make sure that they match, in that where the light is the same on each one, because they're right next to each other, so they will be hitting the light the same way. That one on the top is a little bit darker than that one, but I'm not going to worry about that. Right, let's move on to our dinosaur. Now I picked these 2 colours for our dinosaur. Now these 2 are very neon. They are not what I would call pastel. They are, you can't read them, I can barely read them, lime, coral and jasmine. I've got to read it on my swatch chart because I can't read it on the pencil. And I'm going to use both of these on this dinosaur. So I'm going to use the lime coral first, which is this one. And I'm going to actually colour in all the dots, because it's going to be easier to colour over them after, because we're using a yellow, which in a minute, and I may need to layer it up to get some vibrancy. I want to do these first, because I might find that if I put a lot of layers down, there'll be no tooth left in the paper for me to actually get any of this colour on top. I hope that makes sense. So that's why I'm doing it first. I also know that these don't smudge. If you're using a pencil that smudges when you colour over it, then you need to be really careful. But these don't, so we don't need to worry. And they get small, really small, but that's okay. I'm also going to use this for these spines. Oh, there's one there I missed. I think they're fun. He's such a fun little fellow, or big, maybe. Can I hear my tumble dryer downstairs? It's right below me, rumbling away. I've had a busy morning actually. And exciting. I just had a very exciting thing happen. It might not seem that exciting. I had some post. Woo! We've had postal strikes on the 23rd and 24th of December, and also I think it was the week before. I'm not sure if there were 3 sets or 2 sets, but it really messed up the post. So when it came to Christmas, we'd had very few Christmas cards. So this morning, and I'm recording this on I'm just looking, the 7th of January. I know it's probably the 18th, isn't it, when this goes out? I think that's what I was planning. I may not go to plan. Anyway. And so yeah, we've got a lot of post, 8 letters. Now, it's very unusual for us to get very much post at all. Most of our dealing with whatever it might be. I'm going to put a bit of this darker colour in here where these lines are, which indicate needs to be a bit darker, but I'm going to fade it out so I can fade it into my other colour. Okay, so just make it lighter as you go out. So more layers here, and then just less and less and less. So yeah, we had 5 Christmas cards, which was very exciting. One had come all the way from Australia, which confused me a little bit to start with because I have an aunt in Australia and I thought I've already got a card from her. She sent hers ever so early. This is the yellow colour, which is called jasmine. So anyway, that was from a colouring friend, Kylie, and that was a joy. So thank you, Kylie. It's a lovely, cute card. And then I had one from my husband's cousin. I had one from one of my cousins. My husband's got cousins. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cousins. I've got 20 odd cousins. So I had a card from one of my cousins. And from some friends. And from the building contractor that did our kitchen with a calendar in it. You know, a sort of planner. I guess it's an advert sort of thing really. Now I'm not trying to shade this because it's yellow. I find it quite difficult to shade, and also we've put that little bit of green in to give us a bit there. So I'm just trying to layer it on really. I think if I go too faint we won't see it, so I'm not too worried. And I'm hoping that, yeah, as I go over this it actually makes the green in there a bit more vibrant, which is nice. Now I do find when using yellows like this, it can be quite difficult to cover all of the paper. I can't see. The light is reflecting off the white of the paper and the yellow of the pencil, and I can't see what bits I've missed. So that for me creates trickiness with big areas of yellow. So there are a few ways of getting around it. You can, if your pencil is shiny when it hits the light, which mine is, you can tip it towards the light and then see which bits reflect the light, and if there are bits that aren't reflecting the light then they haven't got pencil on them. I'm just colouring back over it in the hope that I then cover any bits I've missed. That's another way to do it. Or use, I assume that if you used a magnifying glass it would really help. Sometimes I have been known to photograph it, to film on my tablet. You could use a phone, whatever, and then zoom in and use that as a magnifying glass, because I don't actually have one yet. I keep saying I'm going to get one, but I haven't yet. There he is, our dinosaur. Right, that didn't take anything like as long as I thought. I had a different plan, but actually I'm quite pleased with what I did. So, where should we go to next? We have this little ink bottle here we could do. I'm guessing it's an ink bottle, it could be anything really. It's not too big. Maybe we'll do this. I'm thinking, what colour should I do the bottle? I'm thinking it's ink. I could do it blue, like ink. Oh, sorry, I had to wipe my nose. So yes, it's always very exciting getting lots of Christmas cards, even after the date. This is larkspur. I'm going to use this for the main part of the bottle. I'm sort of hoping it looks like the ink is showing through. And I've got my Christmas card string still up because I knew, it sounds a bit presumptive, but I knew I would be getting more cards because I know there are certain people who will send cards who wouldn't not send one, you know. So I knew there would be a few more due. So I kept my card strings up, so I shall hang those up once husband's seen them. He's out, so I shall let him have a look at them. Children are never quite so excited. I don't know why. They don't find Christmas cards that exciting. This is jade, and I'm going to use it for the lid. I'm just thinking I could come in a bit closer. There we go. Hopefully you can see it's really dark and dismal today. I'm going to try and fade it towards the middle a little bit. And this bit's a bit trickier. I think I'm just going to do the background in the jade. And I'm going to do those circular bits and something else. Why not? But I'm going to use a bit here. I sometimes think it's quite fun to sort of use the same colour through an item in different areas. It's also easy. You have to keep choosing different colours, which it's always good. There we go. And I think the other colour I'm going to use for that and that. Now, I don't know if I want to use, we've gone from, the jade is slightly greenish. I think I'm going to use a greenish colour. I'm going to use the bayberry. Oop. I just hold it miles out of shot. And I'm going to use it really pale, really lightly on here. I'm going to do it really gently and see if it shows up. I think it will. Just applying enough so it shows up and so it's reasonably even. Then on these I want to do press a bit harder. Ideally I would want to leave a little bit of white in the middle to make them look shiny, but I think that's absolutely fine. Okay, so that is that. It's really quick. I'm wondering what this is. What's this tall thing? What's this? Is it a saltzer or is it a chess piece king? Does it matter? Probably not. Right, let's do that. I'm going to cheat a little bit on the crowny bit and use the Inca gold just for the gold, so without making a gold with lots of colours. So I'll show you. You can just make it darker here and fade it a bit towards the middle like that and leave a little gap. And it hopefully looks a bit shiny without having to put a lot of effort in. And I'm going to do the same thing on that little bit. And here it's got this sort of fleur-de-lis bit at the top. I'm going to leave the white bit in the middle. And same with these petals. I'm going to do a bit at each end. Oh my goodness. I just jumped a mile then. Something fell down behind me. I actually had a conversation with my boys this morning about whether having a jump scare like that is good for us or not, because when it started they were talking about this sort of thing they have in games. I'm not going to do the rest in this colour. I think I'll do it a more less vibrant colour. I was saying, you know, it's very good, supposed to be, carnation. We're just going to do in here. It's supposed to be good for us to have a shock in the sense of an ice water bath. I've not tried it. I've looked at the research, but it's not convincing enough for me to think, oh, I'll do that. And apparently the shock on your body helps your body repair itself. That's where the theory goes. It's quite pretty pink, isn't it? But it's not, the evidence isn't strong enough for me to think, oh, okay, let's do that. No. I'm going to do the stones in a really bright pink. I'm going to use the camellia. So I was saying to them, do you think that's sort of, it's the shock to the system that's supposed to be the helpful thing? So I said, do you think it's the same if you're get your adrenaline up playing a computer game, or you're playing a jump scare game as they call them, you know, wait, you know, that sort of thing. Is it good for you? But they reckon it probably wasn't, and it's not something I really wanted to try anyway. I'm going to use the cream rose now because I think I want this to be like wood. I mean, obviously I don't have a really dark colour to do wood, but I'm going to do this sort of beigey colour. Maybe it's pine. and on all of these bits I'm trying to layer up a little bit more on the edge and less in the middle. It doesn't show up really well, especially as I'm not in that closely, because it's quite tricky to I can't come in close because you want to see the whole thing. But you can see that I'm just layering up on the edge. This bit is a bit trickier. I think I'm going to do it darker here where these lines are that indicate should be darker, and here. Maybe make it darker on the edge like I have with the rest. It's easy then. So darker here, more layers, just keep going up and down, and then do a bit less here and a lot less in the middle. So same here, lots go up and down. So they reckoned that it wouldn't have the same effect, and I was thinking, well, you know, a cold shower or cold ice bath is a physical thing, whereas I suppose jump scare, although your body jumps, I don't think it's the same sort of thing, because the ice bath is supposed to set your body into a repair mode, which helps to repair damage in your body and your cells. But I don't know. It's big, it's tricky, and I have heard tales that, you know, if you get too cold, it's not good for you. So, you know, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm not an expert. I don't know. Okay, there is our next item. I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to come out so we can see all of them. So what did we do? We did the dice, the dinosaur, the ink bottle, and the chess piece. I think that's what I think it is. So there we go. We'll probably do this sort of bit tomorrow, but I think that's enough for today. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a really lovely day and happy colouring.